Now, the news with Steve McMurray and meteorologist Eric Gage.
And good Friday morning to you. Thank you for joining us. I'm Steve McMurray in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
Got a lot to get to this morning, but we want to get right to a check of the Storm Tracker 2 forecast. And it snowed again.
Here we are. You were thinking, it's raining and the snow's melting yesterday, and time for spring. But
man,
here we
winter.
go.
No, winter. Just hold it on.
Yep.
Just hold it on for dear life.
In fact, live looking Cooperstown right now. It's a snowy scene down there. Snow-covered roadways, and even in parts, a lot of parts of the southern valleys, waking up to an inch, couple of inches of snow. As well as the North Country, the Mohawk Valley got a little bit of a fair share as well. But the temperatures this morning are in the 20s. You notice right downwind of Lake Ontario, you can see that strip of lake effect snow from Rochester to Syracuse all the way down to Hamilton. And the radar right now is still looking a little busy for especially locations around Route 20 and south. The snow has weakened compared to earlier in the overnight hours, but we're going to track this multi-lake snow band shift its way north into the Mohawk Valley later on this morning, and we're not going to be done with snow showers, at least throughout the day today. But the main story is it's going to be a windy one. Wind speeds between 15 and 20 miles per hour. Temperatures surging into the low 30s. So we're done with at least mild weather temporarily. We have a look at the weather we're expecting this weekend and if that warm weather returns coming up in that full forecast. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. And don't forget Storm Tracker 2 forecast, never more than 10 minutes away. The unsanctioned strike.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Friday morning. It is 5:12 and heading out the door today. Well, depending on location, you might be dealing with some very snowy side roads. In fact, take a look outside across the area roadways as we speak. And of course, a lot of the main roads are okay this morning, but you head on some of those side roads and things are going to be a little bit on the snowy side, maybe an inch or so of snow on the ground. But of course, throughout the morning, roads will get plowed, conditions will greatly improve. But in fact, look at the area roadways and the traffic tracker right now. A few slowdowns in those hilltop locations south of the Mohawk Valley, as well as some spots and areas to the north. But again, those main roadways, I-90, most of Route 20 at this point looks okay. But again, those hilltops sections might be dealing with some blowing snow. The radar right now still tracking that snow band developing as we speak, and that's something we're going to keep a close eye on throughout the morning. So that snow band will sweep north into Mohawk Valley within the next few hours. So again, watch out for some snowy roads this afternoon, a passing snow shower. But besides that, we are tracking a colder weekend. We'll have a look at that, plus what we expect heading into next weekend, that full forecast. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. The first 5 close.
The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Happy Friday, everyone. It's turned to winter time yet again, and a lot of you were wondering, or at least somewhat surprised, when you go from 50s and rain to suddenly back to snow again. But we're in the changing season time of year right now where we got a battle between winter and spring, and at least today, winter is winning. A live look at Oneonta right now. We are tracking some snow showers falling out in the distance. Not a very strong snow shower, but this is a scene we'll be seeing throughout the day today in some locations depending on the time. Matter of fact, we can see right here in the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar the development of a lake effect snow band, an isolated one. And we had to keep a close eye on this one because we've got a multi-lake setup downwind of Lake Ontario. In fact, I'll show it right here. So let's zoom out in the radar and satellite. And here we are. Lake Superior, Lake Huron, and Lake Ontario. By the way, Lake Erie is mainly frozen over, but of course that's not affecting us. These lakes are affecting us here. Now, the silver bullet to this multi-lake setup is that these winds, although strong, are variable. And we need a sustained one single line of wind direction in order to produce heavy snow here. But For now, my thoughts are it's going to still remain on the weaker side, but the snow band is going to move its way north as it moves into the Mohawk Valley roughly later on this morning, heading into this afternoon and this evening. But by this afternoon, of course, that snow band moves well to the north, and we actually quiet down. So that's some good news for any of you wondering what the conditions will be like for later on today. But here's what we can expect for the Heart Run and Walk tomorrow. Temperatures will go from the 20s in the morning and remain in the 20s by the late morning. Still windy conditions and even some peaks of sunshine. So if you are walking or running for the Heart Run and Walk, you want to grab that extra layer and even then some, even more, with those winds being on the stronger side. And then as we head into Sunday, we're tracking some light snow, partly sunny skies, and high temperatures in the low to mid 30s. But let's detail this in our Skycast. As I mentioned, here's that snow band. It's going to move its way north into the Mohawk Valley in the next couple of hours. But then it continues north, and we could see some peaks of sunshine this afternoon, winds remaining strong. Then by this evening and overnight, that snow band moves its way back south again. We quiet down with windy conditions on Saturday, and then as we head into Sunday, we'll see the arrival of more snow. This time, not nearly as intense, just some spotty, light popcorn snow showers here and there. And so with that snowfall forecast, this includes last night and into tonight. As you can see here, 1 to 3 inches for much of the Mohawk Valley, 3 to 5 in that zone to the south. And so your 7-day forecast. Heart Run and Walk tomorrow, temperatures in the 20s, grab that extra layer. Then turning those clocks back, or should say turn those clocks ahead an hour. We've got daylight saving time arriving, and I think the best thing though, that sunset time on Sunday goes to 7 p.m. We don't gain an hour of sunlight, we just shift forward an hour, but still we'll look forward to those later evenings. Yeah, later sunset's always a good sign. All right, thanks a lot, Eric. Well, a winter storm system that brought blinding snow, rain, winds, and tornadoes to parts of the country has moved offshore. In its wake, at least 5 deaths. Laura Aguirre reports on new weather threats.
Dry, gusty winds continue to roar across parts of the Gulf and Central regions today, putting over 3 million people under red flag warnings. The fire risk exacerbated by ongoing drought conditions there. The worst of the threat expected across western Texas, where fire crews have already battled a number of devastating wildfires in central and southeastern parts of the state this week. And potential fires are just one risk at the mercy of the winds.
The balloon was huge, like humongous.
Humongous indeed. This surveillance blimp used by U.S. Customs and Border Protection was blown nearly 600 miles from its dock on South Padre Island to the town of Quinlan. It landed on a power pole, but not before clipping at least one house on the way down.
It's just a lot of missing pieces, like broken pieces.
Wind appeared to break a lot of things around the eastern half of the U.S. overnight as well. It caused some power lines to snap and pop near Kansas City and snapped a couple of trees there and elsewhere.
We heard a big, loud noise.
In a moment, this Wichita resident lost much of his roof and both of his cars. Parts of the central and Midwest are still digging out after blizzard conditions yesterday. Not an easy task given how savage the winds and whiteout conditions were just around 24 hours ago. As this system moves into the Atlantic, all eyes shift to the West Coast, where winter storm alerts and warnings are in place from eastern California into central Iowa. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Imagine yourself.
March 7th, 2025, and the news rolls along right now.
Now, the news with Steve McMurray and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Steve McMurray, in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
So let's start this half hour with a check of that Storm Tracker 2 forecast. And we woke up, had to brush the car off a little bit this morning. Old man Winter, just like we said earlier, just keeping his grip on. He's not giving up just yet.
On top of that, too, it's some strong winds as well as today. So it's going to feel cold, a bit of a reality check compared to the past few days.
Exactly.
A look outside right now, again, in Cooperstown, where that snow is still falling. You can see here snow-covered roadways. A lot of you might be thinking that maybe this had been over and done with, but don't worry, we're in central New York. This happens every year. We see full spring, and we're back to wintertime yet again. A look at those current conditions across the state. We've got temperatures in the 20s and 30s, in the teens up in the North Country. And lake effect snow reported from Rochester all the way down into Hamilton in Madison County. And the radar as we speak is still looking a little busy, especially in locations just south of the Mohawk Valley. However, we're starting to see some of that lake effect snow begin to pick up just south of Oswego, and a better shot for snow as we look out to the west. This is eventually going to push its way east into central New York later on this morning. So expect a round of snow showers for your early morning around 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in areas out to the west. And then strong winds will be the story today. Not so much when it comes to snow, but that snow does return again tonight. And we are tracking a cold and windy day tomorrow, and maybe even some more snow on the weekend. A full look at that forecast in the minutes ahead. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. New this morning, just 2 days after the Trump...
Tracker 2 weather updates all day on KTV+.
The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Friday. Our photo of the day today takes us to the mountains, at least Bald Mountain up in the North Country. And this is a photo that is a breathtaking shot, a sunrise off the mountaintop here. And just look at this beauty out in the distance. This was taken a few days ago, again on Bald Mountain. Still plenty of snow up there. And he said the temperature was around -10. A very cold morning, but of course a beautiful shot right there. And if you would like to submit a photo like this one, if you have any sunrise shots around the area or any winter photos in general you'd like to share with us, you can send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Now today, well, we're tracking a few more snow showers. We're not done with winter just yet. We have a look at the snow chances today and how cold they remain over the next few days before potential warm-ups are on the way next week. A full look at that in that full forecast. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. Now to the latest on the mid-air tragedy.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. With the sunrises getting earlier and earlier, we actually can see the twilight right now. It's not even 6 a.m. and taking a live look at downtown Utica. Notice the faint twilight out in the distance as more clouds are working their way in. And this is the leading edge of some more snow showers we'll be seeing later on this morning. Matter of fact, let's take a look at the radar right now. We can see some of that sustained snow falling just along the Madison-Oneida County line, heading through Route 20 near Bridgewater, and then, of course, down into Otsego County near Cooperstown. And as we zoom out a little bit, we're going to see this snow band right here move its way east into our area roughly in the next couple of hours. So we're not done with snow yet this morning. We're also keeping a very close eye on a multi-lake setup. Variable winds will be our savior today when it comes to any significant snowfall, but it's something that we have to keep a very close eye on throughout the morning and afternoon. Of course, this snow does eventually move its way north, and we're going to remain mainly quiet for the middle of the day, and then overnight, another round of snow moves through. Of course, central New York is sandwiched between two lows, both out in the Atlantic and one out in the Midwest. So this is surging in some cold air from Canada into our area. So although today is looking windy and cool, or I should say even cold compared to the warm-up we saw the past couple of days, if you're heading to the Greatest Heart Run and Walk in its 51st year tomorrow, 7 a.m., temperatures in the 20s into the mid-20s still, hovering around that same temperature by 11 a.m. with peaks of sunshine, windy conditions. We do recommend bundling up if you head out to this run tomorrow. It's going to be a cold one. Wind chills will likely be in the teens. And beyond that, high temperatures on Saturday climb into the upper 20s. And Sunday, a little warmer, mid-30s with light snow showers developing throughout the day. And so to our Skycast today, as I mentioned, here comes that snow that moves through between roughly 7 and 8 a.m. This could produce some snow-covered roads here and there as it passes over us. Then things quiet down a little bit. Again, this is only if that multi-lake snow band stays falling, at least stays weak and falls apart. And then as we head into the overnight hours tonight, we'll see the return to another round of quick snow. Could produce a nice coating of snow on the roadways heading into early tomorrow morning. By tomorrow afternoon, things quiet down. Windy conditions, though. And then by Sunday, we'll see a return of some scattered light snow showers throughout the day and high temperatures in the low 30s. When it comes to snowfall accumulations, this is the expected snowfall from last night through tonight. As you can see here, some spots downwind of the Great Lakes could see that higher total of 3 to 5 inches. And so your 7-day forecast, a reminder, bundle up heading to the Heart Run and Walk tomorrow. It's going to be a cold one with those wind chills. And then, of course, Saturday night, turn those clocks forward an hour. We move that daylight time to the evening hours. It'd be great for those who are sick of driving in the dark for the evening commute.
Exactly. And don't forget to check the batteries in your smoke detectors and CO detectors when you change your clocks. Well, up to 70 million people in the U.S. are estimated to be living...
Now, the news with Steve McMurray and meteorologist Eric Gage.
And good Friday morning to you. Thank you for joining us. I'm Steve McMurray, in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
A lot to get to this morning, so we want to get right to a check of that Storm Tracker 2 forecast. And just when you thought winter was exiting the building, comes back in and doesn't look like... Well, we're on the other side. We're on the back nine, right? Hopefully on the last hole at this point. Good.
Well, hopefully then we're in the sudden death round that goes for the next 5 or 6.
I hope so, man alive.
But let's take a look at what's going on out there right now, because yes, it's a snowy scene. I know you're probably wondering where did this come from? It was about 50 or so a few days ago, and now we're looking at snow-covered roadways. There's a live look in Cooperstown. Well, Mother Nature still is giving us winter scenes like this. We're in the battle zone of 2 seasons right now between spring and winter, and at least today, winter is winning. A look at current conditions out there, a few lake effect snow showers in Syracuse and Hamilton and parts of the southern valleys, and in the Mohawk Valley, a little quieter into the mid-20s with cloudy skies in Rome. And the radar right now reporting some lake effect snow showers right along the Madison-Oneida County line, and a better shot for snow out to the west. You see right here that snow band moving its way in as we head throughout the morning. Roughly the next couple of hours, 7, 8 a.m. is when that moves into the Mohawk Valley. But again, today you might encounter some snow-covered side roads, so budget a few extra minutes, as well as budgeting an extra minute or so to brush the snow off the car this morning. It's a fluffy snow. It doesn't really stick all too much, but this afternoon, temperatures climbing to the low 30s with windy conditions. A windy day today, and those winds are going to persist throughout the weekend. We have a look at those temperatures, conditions for the Heart Run and Walk, and on top of that, how things look into next week in that full forecast. Steve?
Eric, thanks, and don't forget Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. The unsanctioned strike.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Happy Friday, everyone. The time now is turning on at 6:13, and as we look outside today, well, some overnight snow produced some snow-covered roadways. We got more snow on the way, so we're not done with it just yet. But at least as of now, roadways are looking mainly clear, at least main roadways. Side roads still likely a little bit snow-covered, so budget a few extra minutes heading out to work this morning to account for that, as well as, of course, the fact that your car also might be snow-covered as well. But taking a look at the traffic tracker this morning, again, a few more slowdowns, those hilltops south of the Mohawk Valley, and this will likely produce a little more slowdowns within the next couple of hours as that snow moves in. By the way, an icon here in Utica. Let's zoom in. Vehicle fire is reported in Utica right here on Arthur Street at Brinkerhoff Avenue. So just a heads up, that area right there, a vehicle fire was reported. Now, the radar starting to get a little more busy again. We've got that lake effect snow moving in now in parts of Madison County, and it'll move its way into the Mohawk Valley within the next couple of hours. So when it comes to your morning commute, watch out for snowy side roads, even some snow-covered main roads in the next couple of hours, and then a passing snow shower this evening with temperatures in the 30s and strong winds throughout the day today. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. The first 5 closings should happen next month for flood-weary Whitesboro homeowners who accepted federal buyouts. They're starting with unoccupied homes, of which there are about 30. Around 140 total homeowners took buyouts. The project manager says, yes, it's been a long road, but it only feels like it took longer than expected.
When we started the program back in 2020, we knew it was going to be a 4 to 5 year effort. And that's what we told people, was 4 to 5 year effort. And here we are, 4 or 5 years later, and we're starting the process to get these closings done.
Whitaker says the buyout money is safe. They have not been told by the federal government to stop or even slow the process. Now, once the town of Whitestown owns the homes, they have to undergo hazardous materials remediation and then demolition. Happening next week, the United County Executive present a housing...
The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. As you just saw in Cooperstown, roads a little snow covered down in the southern valleys. But here in downtown Utica, for example, Oriskany Street, Oriskany Boulevard, heading down Route 5, I-90, even the arterial is relatively snow-free early this morning. But again, some side roads are likely a little snow covered still. And we could see more of that later on this morning. As we take a look at the radar right now, lake effect snow is going to start moving its way back in again. And some of these darker blues could produce some moderate snowfall rates, enough to coat the ground with a dusting of snow at minimum, and maybe an inch or so of snow as you head down in areas to the south. And as we turn the page to later on this morning, we've got this snow band moving its way east into our area, but also we're keeping a very close eye on a multi-lake setup. These are the setups that we've seen in the beginning of the new year and what happened in February, which caused very strong lake effect snow. Now, I don't think we'll see anything close that we saw the past few times this took place. Winds are variable, but the multi-lake setup is occurring right now, and so this is something we're monitoring throughout the morning. We'll, of course, pass along any new developments both on air as well as on our app. Right here, you can download at the bottom of your screen, and our social media pages, primarily our Facebook page, facebook.com/WKTV weather. So, 2 low pressure systems sandwiched between us, allowing that cold air to be pulled in from Canada, and that'll keep things cold today. Strong winds, and as well as strong winds tomorrow. If you're heading to the Heart Run and Walk, temperatures are expected to be in the 20s, wind chills to the strong wind here likely in the teens. So grab that winter jacket if you're walking, or if you're running, maybe this is good weather for you. But still, it's a cold one with peaks of sunshine and strong winds. Highs on Saturday in the 20s, a little warmer on Sunday, but with light snow showers. So not the entire weekend looks dry. But as you look at our skycasts, we can see here's that arrival of that snow band into the Mohawk Valley within the next hour or so, around 7, 8 a.m. Then this ends following the fact that that multi-lake setup does weaken. That's the silver lining here. And then as we head into this evening and tonight, that snow will return, push its way through the Mohawk Valley, and then you could see some snow-covered surfaces for the early morning on Saturday, followed by a windy one with partly sunny skies and temperatures in the 20s. Then by tomorrow night, things look mainly quiet, and then by Sunday, we'll see the return to a few scattered snow showers. So snowfall forecast from tonight through, or at least last night through tonight. You can see here a lot of spots, 1 to 3 inches. A few higher elevation spots, both north and south of the valley, around 3 to 5 inches. So it's not a major event, but still, we're returned to snow, and we're not done with it just yet. So again, heading to the Heart Run and Walk tomorrow, bundle up, temperatures in the 20s, wind chills in the teens, and then of course by Sunday, we're going to see that 7 p.m. sunset for the first time in a while with highs in the 30s and a little bit of a warm-up as we head into next week in the 40s, potentially nearing 50 degrees again.
All right, a mixed bag of everything.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Eric. Well, a winter storm system that brought blind winds and tornadoes to parts of the country moved offshore, and in its wake, at least 5 deaths. Laura Aguirre reports on new weather threats.
Dry, gusty winds continue to roar across parts of the Gulf and Central regions today, putting over 3 million people under red flag warnings. The fire risk exacerbated by ongoing drought conditions there. The worst of the threat expected across western Texas, where fire crews have already battled a number of devastating wildfires in central and southeastern parts of the state this week. And potential fires are just one risk at the mercy of the winds.
The balloon was huge, like huge, humongous.
Humongous indeed. This surveillance blimp used by U.S. Customs and Border Protection was blown nearly 600 miles from its dock on South Padre Island to the town of Quinlan. It landed on a power pole, but not before clipping at least one house on the way down.
It's just a lot of missing pieces, like broken pieces.
Wind appeared to break a lot of things around the eastern half of the U.S. overnight as well. It caused some power lines to snap and pop near Kansas City and snapped a couple of trees there and elsewhere.
We heard a big, loud noise.
In a moment, this Wichita resident lost much of his roof and both of his cars. Parts of the central and Midwest are still digging out after blizzard conditions yesterday. Not an easy task given how savage the winds and whiteout conditions were just around 24 hours ago. As this system moves into the Atlantic, all eyes shift to the West Coast, where winter storm alerts and warnings are in place from eastern California into central Iowa. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
And his Storm Tracker 2 forecast coming up. Today is Friday, March 7th, 2025, and the news rolls along right now.
Now, the news with Steve McMurray and meteorologist Eric Gage.
And good morning. Thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Steve McMurray, in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
So let's start this half hour with a check of that forecast. Looks clear right now, but certainly some snow overnight. That
yes.
And folks may have just been, all right, that's it. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, here we are. We're still in central New York. It's still early March, so
Sure.
This is not we're not out of the woods just yet with snow. But here we are this morning with some snow-covered surfaces. You might have to brush some snow off your car this morning. And matter of fact, a live look in Cooperstown, some snow-covered roadways. However, it looks like some plows rolled through already. The snow is very powdery and very fluffy, so it shouldn't be too difficult to brush it off your cars and your car and windows this morning. Temperatures across the area in the 20s with reports of snow showers from Rochester down to Hamilton from lake effect snow. We can see it clearly in the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. As we turn the page to the next half hour to an hour, we'll start to see the arrival of snow into the Mohawk Valley. This, as we can see here, is a push of snow. It's not going to last all too long, but again, this could cause some snow-covered surfaces again between roughly 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the Mohawk Valley. And we're keeping a close eye on additional lake effect today, but the main story is it's going to be cold and it's going to be windy. Temperatures in the low 30s and strong winds throughout the day today. And these strong winds will continue into the weekend and potentially a warm-up expected by next week. We're in the battle zone right now of two seasons of winter and spring, and we have a look at what wins out as we turn the page to next week in that full forecast. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. Don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. New this morning, just 2 days.
Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery in Delhi. The Cooperstown Camera is brought to you by Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Utica.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Friday morning. Our photo of the day today is a really good one. This is a photo of a sunrise from a mountaintop on Bald Mountain up in the North Country. Take a look at this shot right here. This is an amazing view in the eastern sky of that sunrise sent in to our page on our website, wktv.com/weather/pics. The viewer who submitted this said the temperature was -10 on the mountaintop, so very cold morning, but I bet that was a breathtaking shot to see that sunrise out in the distance as you saw the early morning twilight turn to that. So amazing photo right here. If you would like to submit a photo like this one, again, that link, wktv.com/weather/pics, is the place to go. You can submit it right there. Include your name as well in the description of the photo if you wish to receive credit. Now, today we are still tracking more snow as well as colder weather. Will that stick around to the weekend? Will a warm-up be on the way? We have A full look at that forecast in the minutes ahead. Steve?
Eric, thanks. Now to the latest on the mid-air tragedy in
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. On this Friday, we are tracking a cold one and a windy one, a far-fetched difference compared to what we saw earlier in the week. But a live look at downtown Utica right now. The conditions early today in the Mohawk Valley following some overnight snow. Looking mainly quiet, but that's going to change as we take a look at the radar right now. Here is the arrival of some snow, initially out in locations out west of Utica, eventually pushing its way east over the next hour, 2 hours between now and 8 a.m. And beyond that, as we zoom out to the bigger picture, we're keeping a very close eye on this multi-lake setup here. This is the prime wind condition for a multi-lake lake effect snow setup to take place. For now, the winds look to be too variable to produce anything significant when it comes to snow impacts. But again, we're keeping a very close eye on this. We'll have any updates shared on our WKTV weather app. You can scan it right there with the QR code at the bottom of your screen, or we'll post on our social media pages later on today if anything does change for that. But at least when it comes to the initial forecast, it's going to be a little more quiet following this early morning snow and then a return to snow tonight. But if you're heading to the Heart Run and Walk tomorrow, expect to bundle up. Temperatures will be in the 20s for the 7 a.m. through 11 a.m. On top of that, strong winds at play here. So these wind chills will likely be in the teens. It's going to be a cold one. So if you're walking, grab that scarf, grab that coat, anything extra layers you want to make sure you stay warm as you're walking. If you're running, well, depending on who you are, this might be a very good temperature to run in if you're a fan of the colder runs. But following Saturday, which, by the way, peaks at 28 for the high, Sunday, 35 the high with light snow and partly sunny skies. So to our Skycast today. Here's that snow that's moving through between now and 8 a.m. By 9, 10 a.m., things begin to quiet down, barring that multi-lake snow band. Again, keeping a very close eye on that today. Then, although it's still very windy out, we'll still see some peaks of sunshine. Then things quiet down this evening, and then we'll see a surge of snow showers overnight into early Saturday morning as that snow band moves through. Conditions still remain very quiet. Temperatures will be in the 20s, wind chills even colder with that strong wind. Quiet weather for much of the evening and overnight. And then by Sunday, here comes the arrival of some scattered snow showers by the mid-afternoon through the early evening. And it's going to be light snow showers for that. So your snowfall forecast between last night and this evening. Here's a general idea of where all that heavier snow has fallen. Up north and just south of the Mohawk Valley are where the highest totals are expected. And so, your 7-day forecast, the Heart Run and Walk tomorrow. Bundle up if you're heading out to walk or run. And of course, turn those clocks ahead an hour on Saturday night into Sunday. Those 7 p.m. sunsets moving in, and following that, a little bit of a warm-up as we head into next week. So we're in this battle zone of winter and spring, and we'll see what wins out over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think the folks walking tomorrow will say that
Yes.
winter is still winning. All right, thanks a lot, Eric. Well, up to 70 million people in the United States.
Joins us now, and I got to tell you, coming up Route 12 was an absolute nightmare. And this was, I came in about 10:30, zero visibility.
Yeah, and as of now, parts of Route 12 are still closed at this hour. In fact, look at the latest road conditions out there. There's still plenty of green. The snow is falling. A lot of temperatures are actually right around the freezing point, which allows these roadways to remain not snow covered. But as you take a look right here, Route 12, as Ben mentioned, was pretty bad with bad visibility a few hours ago, and it's still closed right now between New York 315 and Paris Road, going from parts of Waterville near Sangerfield up north to Paris Hill. Of course, from Paris Hill to New Hartford is still open at this hour. But I want to turn the attention to Route 20 from Richfield to Springfield right here. Looks to be pretty messy, as well as parts of Route 28 going from Richfield Springs up to just outside of Mohawk to the north. This is all seeing parts of this out to the distance. Now, Snow is not currently falling here at the station, but you can see the camera is shaking pretty violently with these strong winds right now. Temperature just above freezing. In fact, Oneonta saw a pretty good snow band pass through. That's out in the distance right now. A bit of a lull in the snow, and that's what's taking place so far. Temperatures hovering right around the low 30s and passing snow bands. In fact, the radar right here is still very busy, thankfully less busy than before. But inside these dark blue patches here, that's some pretty heavy snow is taking place. These are isolated and scattered snow pockets right here. But as we head throughout the evening, the snow winds down. It returns again tonight, bringing a fresh round of an inch or two of snow to the ground by early tomorrow. But will the rest of the weekend remain as snowy? We have a look at that full forecast in the minutes ahead. Ben?
I hope the answer is no, Eric. I really do. Thank you very much. America's Greatest Heart Run and Walk weekend is
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone, on this Friday. Well, it isn't quite Central New York until you deal with this type of weather today. We've got whiteouts in some spots, and in fact, in downtown Utica, how about blue skies? Because why not? You know, just the usual Central New York weather we typically see every year. But in this case, again, in between some of these blue skies are complete whiteout conditions, and they're patchy, they're not widespread, and they're disorganized snow bands, as you can take a look right here. And I'll explain why this is happening. Earlier this morning, although some of the data showed this following in the mid-morning, things would be quiet, it hasn't been the case, and I was monitoring this downwind lake effect snow potential. And zooming out a little bit, so of course we have a multi-lake setup right here. The winds are extremely variable, but we still have strong winds. So even though we're not tracking a very isolated snow band, the strength of these winds and how far they're going is strong enough to where even though the winds are variable, we're still seeing disorganized pockets of lake effect snow. So that's the case of what's going on today. It is expected to weaken throughout the afternoon slowly. It's not going to be a quick weakening. And then we quiet down before another round of snow right here moves through, heading into the overnight into early tomorrow morning. You notice right here, this is how strong these winds are, coming all the way from Lake Superior all the way down, slingshotting over the Mohawk Valley. So it's cold, it's windy today. That's been the story so far. Tomorrow, if you're heading to the Heart Run and Walk, temperatures will be in the 20s, some pretty strong winds, and so with those wind chills in the teens, if you are walking the Heart Run and Walk tomorrow, I recommend grabbing any extra layers you can: coats, mittens, gloves, scarf. Bundle up. It's going to be a cold walk. But if you're running, maybe you're a fan of this cold weather and you don't need to bundle up all too much, but just know exactly what your body needs when you're going out to this event, because again, it's going to be a cold one. So windy and blowing snow tomorrow, but mainly quiet following some early morning snow showers. On Sunday, partly sunny to start, light snow moves in. This will not be as intense as what's going on today. So as you can see here, some models indicated quiet weather this afternoon, but of course that has been the case. This lake effect is still persistent and will remain persistent to the early part of this afternoon, quieting down this evening and tonight. As you can see here, our secondary round of snow arrives overnight into early tomorrow. Then blustery and cold for your Saturday, followed by some scattered light snow heading into Sunday. Matter of fact, I'll show you right here. Quiet overall Saturday to Saturday night, and then by Sunday, initially dry, and then pockets of snow showers across the board throughout the day. Snowfall accumulations by tomorrow morning, you can see here, roughly 1 to 2 inches, 2 to 4 in some spots, and then as we head into Saturday night into Sunday, I should say right, mainly Sunday when more of that snow moves in. By the end of the weekend, a lot of spots pick up between 1 to potentially 4 inches. But your 7-day forecast, this cold weather does come to an end by Tuesday of next week. Well, I should say even Monday as well. We go from the 40s into the 50s by Tuesday, and we'll see how the second half of the week next week shapes up. We got a backdoor cold front we're watching, but at least we're getting a lot more 40s and 50s and a lot less
Yeah,
20s and
it's
teens.
a lot nicer. We're a little bit out of that, what did I term it the other day? Sprinter,
yeah.
spring,
Well,
winter mix.
We're on the winter side of it today.
I'm gonna trademark that, by the way, if I can. I don't know how that works. Thank you very much, Eric. Measles cases are on the rise. Meteorologist Eric Gage joins us now, and one thing this time of year that I've noticed has been extremely bad this year is potholes on local roads.
Yes, potholes, and it's one of those things that takes place in an area like our area. You have frequent thaws and freezes and snow and ice, and it doesn't matter how much you treat it or whatever, the cracks get bigger regardless of the weather, at least in this case here in central New York, a lot of bad weather, or a lot of snowy weather, whatever you want to call it. But again, when it comes to roadways, speaking of, currently Route 12 is still closed from Paris Hill, or I should say Paris Road, down to Waterville. We'll let you know, of course, when this does open throughout the day, but again, just a heads up, if you're heading that direction, that road is closed due to blowing snow. And we are also keeping a close eye on Route 20, which is looking a little better compared to earlier on, as that heavy snow band has exited. And again, the one plus side of this is these temperatures are climbing above freezing or near freezing. So these roadways are not going to be snow covered for that long. That temperature is going to aid in that snow melt. So, but as you can see here, different locations across central New York seeing different conditions. Snow falling lightly in Oneonta, but heavier in other spots. In the low 30s across the Mohawk Valley, radar still looking pretty busy out there. These pockets of dark blue indicate heavy snow. And we'll continue to see this gradually weaken throughout the day today, and then a return to snow late tonight into early tomorrow and late on Sunday. So we're not done with snow just yet, but we have a look at the timing of that in a lot more detail coming up in a few minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Developing news out of Whitesboro, the first 5 closings of floodplain housing.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone. On this Friday, about a half hour ago, I showed you our camera in downtown Utica, and the skies were blue. However, you wait 10 minutes in central New York, the weather changes. Here we are, a live look in downtown Utica right now, where the snow is starting to fall a little bit once more. A few flurries, not nearly as intense, but the blue skies are out in the distance. And that's been the case pretty much all morning and will be the case for the next couple of hours. You see these pockets of dark blue, heavy snow inside some of these, along with some strong winds. Now, the setup today is a little bit unique. If you guys remember what happened at the beginning of the new year, as well as in February, strong lake effect snow, but it was a very strong, narrow snow band, one band. And that's because the winds were strong, but very uniform. They weren't variable. Today, it's a different story. Strong winds, multi-lake setup, but the winds are variable. In this case, we're seeing a more spread out impact of snow. Think of it as if a garden hose and you have the sprayer and it's the jet sprayer, but then if you switch it to, say, for example, the shower mode or a different kind, that's what's going on right now. You're spreading out the impacts over a larger area, still potential whiteouts, but it's not nearly as intense as, say, what would happen with the jet stream. But as you can see here, it's a multi-lake setup right now, sandwiched between 2 low pressures here, both north of us and out to our west. Now, it's cold, it's windy today. That doesn't really change heading into tomorrow. Temperatures for the Heartland and Walk between 7 and 11 in the morning, between the low to mid-20s, along with some pretty strong winds, bring those wind chills down into the teens throughout the morning and even early afternoon. So if you are attending America's Greatest Heartland and Walk, the 51st edition this year, I would grab an extra layer, potentially a winter coat, maybe a scarf or some gloves to stay warm. But if you're running it, maybe the cold weather is for you, maybe a little bit less of those layers. So windy and blowing snow tomorrow. Watch out for some usual areas in roadways that see that blowing snow. Then on Sunday, a little warmer with light snow and partly sunny skies. By the way, the sunshine will be in the morning. these parts of light snow take place in the afternoon. So sporadic snow comes to an end this evening. It quiets down until early tomorrow morning when that cold front moves through. A quick couple of inches of fluffy snow move to the area by early tomorrow morning. That ends the rest of Saturday looking dry, and after a dry morning Sunday, we'll see the return of even more spotty light snow showers. This will not be as intense as what's going on today. So by Saturday morning, here's a look at the potential snowfall accumulations. Not a whole lot, but still, it's going to be snowing, maybe about an inch or 2 to 4 in some of those outlying areas. And then a little bit more as we head into or at least Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon. And so, your 7-day forecast, a reminder, Sunday is when we move those clocks ahead an hour. We go from a sunset of 6 o'clock to a sunset of 7 o'clock. And I think a lot of people are looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Even though we have a warm-up next week, the main thing is later sunsets, which will be great.
And also with daylight savings time, remember to change the batteries in your smoke detectors. Always a good time of year to do that also. Thank you very much, Eric. A South Carolina man is scheduled to die today.
Breaking news right off the top here. 2 school buses have crashed head-on in the outer district of Rome in Floyd. I want to get right to this picture from Mark Medved, who lives on Rick Meyer Road in Floyd. Both the small bus and large bus say Holland Patton on them. This was just before 3 p.m. The Oneida County Sheriff says it was a total whiteout at the time of the collision. There were kids on each bus, and some were brought to the hospital for evaluations. We are working to get information on the condition of the drivers. We have reached out to the school district as well. And take a look at this picture from George Cushman. It shows 2 tractor trailers on Route 12 in Waterville, or actually in the Sangerville field area. One big rig you could see right across the road. No word if there's a collision between the two. This is right in front of Curtis Lumber. Whiteout conditions here as well. Route 12 from Waterville to New Hartford has been closed for the better part of the day and is still closed at this hour. No word if anyone was hurt in this crash. Let's get you right over to Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. And again, some spots, blue skies, sunshine, other areas, blinding conditions.
And that's what makes today so dangerous because it varies so much. Most of the area is going to be fine for the rest of this evening. But areas that picked up some lake effect snow, open areas, areas that are prone to blowing and drifting, there have been whiteouts today. We've seen 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. The winds are going to diminish, so conditions will improve over the next several hours. So things are going to get better, but over the next couple of hours, if you live in one of these spots that's prone to blowing and drifting, we're advising you to just avoid these areas. Again, some of these hilltop locations, roads are closed, like, for example, Route 28 heading south between Mohawk and Richfield Springs. And again, a lot of these side roads are very difficult to navigate as well. Again, good news is the winds will be diminishing. We saw a peak wind gust of 52 miles an hour at Herkimer today. That was the highest reported by New York State Mesonet. Heading into this evening, the winds will be diminishing, and it's going to get cold here as we head into the weekend. I've got to look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
If you live in the village of
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We continue to track widespread wind, and that wind is causing issues. Some blowing, some drifting snow in the higher elevations. It's led to whiteout conditions, but the weather's very different depending on where you go. In the lower elevations, for example, in downtown Utica, it really wasn't too bad. There were times where the snow came down heavy for brief periods of time, and there were some whiteouts, but the wind was not quite as impactful, I should say, in terms of visibility. In the open areas, it's been pretty much a whiteout most of the day, so just be careful. If you're traveling to an area where you know that it's prone to blowing and drifting snow, that is going to be an issue for the next couple of hours. The winds will be diminishing as we head into tonight. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. We're looking at pretty quiet conditions. We did see some snow showers earlier today. At times they came down pretty heavy, but those have moved off to the east. And the weather system is going to carry the wind with it. So the winds will be diminishing tonight. Looking at wind gusts tomorrow between about 30 to 40 miles an hour. So another windy day, just not quite as windy as what we saw this afternoon. We saw wind gusts between about 40 to 50 miles an hour. The winds will be diminishing Saturday night, and we'll see breezy conditions on Sunday. With that in mind, it is going to be a cold day tomorrow. We're looking at sunshine for the Heart Run and Walk. Temperatures will be in the low 20s, but the wind chills, it's going to make it feel like teens and at times single digits tomorrow morning. So dress nice and warm if you plan on going to that. Also a reminder, we changed the clocks this weekend. We're going to spring ahead 1 hour Saturday night. Our new sunrise time will become 7:22 in the morning. Of course, our new sunset time will change as well, 7 o'clock. So we move daylight here. We lose it in the beginning of the day, but we gain it towards the end. Temperatures this evening, it's cold. That wind has a bite to it. Little Falls, 32 degrees. West Berlin, 32. Deansboro, 29. Across the Southern Valleys, Cooperstown, 32. Oneonta, 30 degrees. And Unadilla with 36. Weather looks pretty quiet heading into the weekend. We've got an area of high pressure that's going to roll in. Temperatures tonight will fall into the low 20s. We will see a few very light snow showers late tonight as a secondary cold front rolls through. Saturday looking partly sunny. It's cold. We've got that wind. Temperatures will be in the 20s. The weather looks dry Saturday night. There will be a few light snow showers on Sunday as a warm front rolls through, and that is going to set the stage for a big change in the weather pattern heading into next week. Snow showers late tonight, low temperature of 21. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, windy, 28. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. The weather warms up next week. We're looking at a significant warm up and an extended thaw. Temperatures are going to be in the 40s on Monday, close to maybe 60 on Tuesday if we get enough sunshine. I know. So some big changes ahead.
All right, Bill, thank you. It's feeling like spring. Don't forget to change the clocks. Daylight saving time.
Tracker 2 weather updates all day on KTV+.
We're continuing to follow breaking news on a two-bus crash. This is on Rick Meyer Road in Floyd. It happened just before 3 this afternoon. Seconds ago, the Oneida County Sheriff texting me to confirm one bus driver has died. We do not have a condition on the other bus driver. They were brought to the hospital with minor injuries. Between both buses, there were 5 students on board. 2 of them were brought to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. We'll continue to follow this story. Again, one bus driver killed in a 2-bus crash in Floyd. Corrections officers were back on the picket line after a reported...
I'll be right back. No, we got to do weather. We're talking about some very cold weather here as we head into Heart Run and Walk. It's going to be in the 20s in the morning. With the wind, it's going to feel like single digits. So dress nice and warm, dress in layers. The good news is that we are expecting some sunshine, a cloudy start, but then a few breaks of sunshine as we head throughout the day. And it will be dry throughout most of the afternoon. Overall, the weekend does look okay. It looks warmer than last weekend, still pretty cold. 38 degrees for the high on Sunday. Next week, we are looking at a significant change in the weather pattern. It's going to feel spring-like with temperatures close to 60 by Tuesday. Some cooler weather, relatively speaking, for Wednesday and Thursday. But it does look like we're going to be seeing a lot of melting snow looking ahead. Live look at the Yorkville Battery, Storm Tracker 2, Doppler radar. Things look pretty quiet. If you're heading out, taking the dog for a walk this evening, it is windy, it is cold, but the snow showers are coming to an end. Tonight's featured dog, Mia from Mohawk. This is brought to you by Nissan. We're taking a look at the weekend forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
Let's talk spring break. It's kicking into high.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. A very windy day, blowing and drifting snow, whiteout conditions in spots. The open areas were really difficult to travel for a couple of hours this afternoon. And there are some spots that are still very difficult to travel, but with winds diminishing, I do expect conditions to get better over the next couple of hours. So live looking at Oneonta, and again, it's just very localized today. A lot of places were not bad for most of the day, but then when the snow came down, it turned into a whiteout, and again, in some areas, that snow just kind of lingered around in those open areas in particular were really bad. Take a look at the wind gusts today. We had 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts in Herkimer and Griffiths. That wind was really consolidated in the Mohawk Valley and some of those hilltops just south of the valley. That's where the wind was strongest. We did have wind gusts in most areas at least 40 miles an hour. Now tomorrow, we're expecting some wind, but it won't be quite this strong. Thinking the winds will be about 40 to 45 miles an hour, peak wind gusts in the afternoon. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. A couple of lingering snow showers out there, but nothing like what we saw earlier today. Again, the winds diminish as we head into this evening. They become a lot lighter. The winds are back tomorrow. Again, not as strong as today, but still enough where it could create some blowing and drifting snow, especially tomorrow afternoon. The winds will be around Sunday, and then they'll start to lighten off here Monday and Tuesday. This is the windiest time of the year in March. And the old saying, in like a lion, out like a lamb. Around here, it's usually in like a lion, out like a lion. We don't really see the winds back off until usually April, sometimes even the middle of April. The weekend is looking cold, not as cold as last weekend. It's generally dry. A few light snow showers in the forecast for Sunday. Also a reminder, we spring ahead Saturday night. We go from standard time to daylight saving time early Sunday morning. Clinton, 31 degrees, Micah New Hartford, 30, Mohawk, 32, Cooperstown, 31. A pretty chilly evening here in central New York. The weather looks pretty quiet for the short term. For Heart Run and Walk, it's cold tomorrow morning. Temperatures start out in the low 20s. A few light snow showers are expected late tonight. Most of Saturday, looking dry, cold. It's going to feel like teens most of the day with the wind. We remain dry through Saturday night, but then some light snow breaks out on Sunday. Little accumulation is expected here. This is part of a warm front that will be rolling through, bringing big changes to our weather next week. Snow showers late tonight, low of 21. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, windy, 28. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Dare I say it's going to feel like spring around here, specifically Tuesday and probably Friday and possibly into next weekend. We've got a pretty significant change in the weather pattern where it warms up quite a bit. It does cool down Wednesday, but 44 for the high. We're back to 50 on Thursday and then in the mid-50s on Friday. We'll be right back.
Open tonight after being underwater this morning. The Oriskany Creek overflowed its banks this morning between Route 233 and Limberlost Road. You should never drive through a flooded roadway because you don't know if the pavement is washed out below. Again, Route 5 in Kirkland is back open.
Let's get you caught up with Chief Meteorologist Bill Karst with a first look at the forecast.
We're tracking some changes in the weather as expected tonight. Colder weather on the way, and our focus is going to go to some snow accumulation tonight. This is widespread snow working in from the west. We'll see a drop in visibility. There will be a couple of slippery spots. This is not expected to cause major problems driving, but again, it's been a little while since we've had widespread accumulating snow, and this will be moving through over the next couple of hours. We have wind advisories in effect for a good portion of central New York. The winds will be sticking around as we head into the next couple of days. We are tracking some snow accumulation tonight. This will continue into early tomorrow. Very localized lake effect that will impact tomorrow morning's commute. I've got to look at that. And also a little bit of a warm-up as we look ahead and look at the forecast that's coming up. Back over to you.
Bill, thank you. The first 5 closings should happen next month for flood-weary Whitesboro homeowners who accepted federal buyouts. They're starting with unoccupied homes, of which there are about 30. Around 140 total homeowners took buyouts. The project manager says, yes, it's been a long road, but it only feels like it took longer than expected.
When we started the program back in 2020, we knew it was going to be a 4 to 5 year effort. And that's what we told people, was 4 to 5 year effort. And here we are, 4 or 5 years later, and we're starting the process to get these closings done.
Whitaker says the buyout money is safe. They have not been told by the federal government to stop or even slow their process. Once the town of Whitestown owns the homes, they have to undergo hazardous materials, remediation, and then demolition.
A week from today, the Oneida County Executive will...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Karst.
Good evening. We're tracking widespread snow approaching from the west this evening. There will be some accumulation. It looks on the lighter side, but it could be enough to make things a little bit slippery, especially as temperatures continue to fall below freezing. It's actually the first time we've been below freezing in a couple of days. So there could be some patchy black ice that forms on untreated surfaces. A temperature of 27 degrees in downtown Utica. The snow hasn't started yet here, but it will. We're tracking this round moving in from the west. It's snowing in Rome, and there will be some lake effect snow that will continue as we head into tonight. The winds will be around for the foreseeable future. Thinking gusts tonight could top out around 40 miles an hour. The winds continue tonight. A lot of times winds will slow down in the evening and at night and then pick up again during the day. I think that tonight the winds are going to continue. We will see a drop in the wind tomorrow morning, and then it picks back up in the afternoon. More wind on Saturday, less wind Sunday, windy on Monday. I guess the good news here is that we don't quite reach the damaging category in terms of wind. I think it'll be pretty limited in terms of what it does in terms of any tree damage or power outages. Our season snowfall for Utica stands at 101.4 inches. We were over 2 feet at one point of a departure compared to average, but we haven't had that much snow in the past week, so we're starting to we're seeing that departure go down a little bit, but again, we will be picking up some snow tonight. Quick reminder, the clocks changed this weekend. We'll spring 1 hour forward Saturday night. We'll see 7 o'clock sunsets in the evening, but also the sunrise will become an hour later too. Skywatchers, Clinton 30 degrees, Cassville 30, 28 degrees in Barneveld, Jeff and Mohawk 32, Skinevus with 33 degrees, Westford 31. Lake effect snow will be moving through as a cold front moves through the region tonight, and that lake effect snow will be very localized. We think it's generally south and west of Utica tomorrow morning. Could be enough to create a few slippery spots for your morning commute. Then this lake effect snow starts to feel the influence of the March sun, starts to break apart a bit. We'll have some scattered showers, snow showers throughout the afternoon. Temperatures will climb into the low 30s. Tomorrow night, looking at mostly cloudy skies, a couple of lingering snow showers, but Saturday, the weather does dry out for Heart Run. It is looking dry, but cold in the morning. Wind chills will be in the teens, but the weather does look dry throughout the day. We should see some sunshine Saturday afternoon. Temperatures in the upper 20s. Snowfall accumulation tonight and tomorrow, generally 1 to 3 inches for the majority of the area, but those more persistent bands of snow north and south of the Mohawk Valley could produce 3 to 5 inches. The most likely location would be north of Rome and along the Route 20 corridor in Madison County. Snow showers, windy tonight, low temperature of 21. Tomorrow, snow showers, windy, 36. A couple of cold days ahead before the weather starts to warm up. Next week, we're looking at an extended thaw. You can kind of feel it. The weather's slowly changing. We're getting thaws that last longer. We could be in the 50s a couple of days heading into next week.
I saw grass today.
Hey, that's...
Right? Right?
That feels like
grass.
victory, doesn't it?
But now all the snowbanks are so filthy.
Yeah, it does get
Kind of
dirty
lose
this time of year.
that magical look.
Thank you, Bill. Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6, Spencer is live
with Ben Kinney.
Good evening. Jason is off tonight. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office has released the name of the bus driver killed after colliding with another school bus this afternoon in the town of Floyd. It's your top story. The accident happened just before 3 o'clock this afternoon. The Sheriff's Office says the two buses collided head-on. One driver, 58-year-old Gene Marsden of Holland Patton, was pronounced dead at the scene. The other driver, 57-year-old Michael Page of Stittville, suffered a foot injury. He was transported to Wynn Hospital. 2 students from Marsden's bus were also transported to the hospital with minor injuries. A total of 5 students were on both of the buses. The cause of that crash is under investigation, but whiteout conditions from wind and blowing snow are believed to be a factor. A message posted on the Holland Patton School District website described Marsden as a beloved bus driver, colleague, and friend. This picture comes to us from Waterville. George Cushman showing a tractor trailer on Route 12, jackknife with another one right there. One big rig across the road. No word if the collision is between the two. This was in front of Curtis Lumber. Whiteout conditions there as well. Route 12 in between Waterville and New Hartford was closed for a long stretch of time. Today, it has been reopened. In West Winfield, this car ended up on its side after appearing to go over the guardrail. This was Route 20 near Chepachet Road. A little after 2:30 this afternoon. No word on any injuries from this crash as well. The big reason behind all these road issues is this right here, the winds. Unbelievable. 52 miles per hour in Herkimer.
That is close to damaging wind.
Yeah.
And you combine that with lake effect snow, that really fluffy snow just blows everywhere. I mean, this was bad, and especially in open spots, it was really tough. In fact, some of the worst driving conditions of the whole year took place in spots today, and it's just a reminder that we always have to be on guard here in central New York. Just because we don't have big rain or storms doesn't mean that roads can't be bad at times. And again, especially those higher elevations, those open spots can get really nasty in a hurry. Thankfully, we won't be dealing with this too much going forward. We do have a couple of snow showers out there. There will be some wind in our future, but it does not look to be as strong as what we've experienced today. 30 degrees is the current temperature. We still have a breeze out there making it feel like 22. Temperatures are going to be cold over the weekend, but we've got a very different weather pattern setting up for early next week. A little taste of spring in the forecast. Snow showers tonight, low temperature of 21. We've got to look at the weekend forecast coming up. Ben, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. A man released from the United County Jail yesterday.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Much quieter weather out there tonight compared to earlier today. The winds are lighter. We are still seeing the wind. You can see the flag waving behind me, the live look in downtown Utica. Temperature of 30 degrees. A couple of snow showers out there tonight, but for the most part, things are quieting down. We are looking at winds again tomorrow that look to gust between about 30 to 40 miles an hour, as well as Sunday. The winds start to ease back Monday. You can kind of see how this plays out with winds becoming lighter tonight. 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're looking at winds in the gusting to the low 20s. They top out between about 35 to 40 miles an hour in the afternoon. And then the winds will start to ease back as we head into Saturday evening. Looking dry on Saturday, but again, it's cold. The temperature is in the upper 20s. Wind chills will be in the teens most of the day. Light snow on Sunday. Temperatures climb into the upper 30s. For Heart Run and Walk, it's cold. Make sure you dress nice and warm. Temperatures will be in the low 20s in the morning, but again, the wind chill will be in the single digits to low teens. We spring forward this weekend. We change the clocks 1 hour. And we'll have a later sunrise, but also a later sunset. So the question is, what would happen if we did not change the clocks? What would the sunrise and sunset time look like in the summer if we stayed on standard time? Well, we get an early sunrise, 4:20 in the morning. You think that's bad? Twilight starts at 3:46. Latest sunset for 7:45, so we'll lose those magical summer sunsets if we remained on standard time, but we would also not lose that hour of sleep. So we look at that radar, look at the radar and satellite image. Again, things look pretty quiet across the region. We are tracking a few snow showers that look to drop in late tonight. Little accumulation is expected. Looks pretty quiet for Saturday. Again, windy, cold, temperatures in the 20s. The weather remains quiet heading into Saturday night. Sunday looks quiet as well, at least early. Some light snow showers arrive as a warm front moves in later in the day. Snow showers late tonight, low of 21. Tomorrow, a windy, cold afternoon, high temperature of 28. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Dare I say, might actually feel like spring around here, especially Tuesday. 59 for the high. We got a back to a cold front Wednesday, so don't get too used to it. But maybe we do this again by Friday and maybe into the weekend.
I like that.
Something we'll have to keep a very close eye on because we're right on the line. We're right on the battle between winter and spring, and right
Sprinter,
now,
I called it. I called it Sprinter.
Sprinter
trademark
spring might end up winning for a little bit.
All right, I'll take it. Thank you very much, Bill. Coming up next, Simi Polly.
With Ben Kinney.
Good evening. Jason is off tonight. The United County Sheriff's Office has released the name of the bus driver that was killed after colliding with another school bus this afternoon in the town of Floyd. It's your top story. It happened just before 3 o'clock this afternoon. The Sheriff's Office says the two buses collided head-on. One driver, 58-year-old Gene Marsden of Holland Patton, was pronounced dead at the scene. The other driver, 57-year-old Michael Page of Stittsville, suffered a foot injury and was transported to Wynn Hospital. Two students from Marsden's bus were also transported to the hospital with minor injuries. There were 5 students total between the 2 buses. The cause of that crash under investigation. Whiteout conditions from wind and blowing snow are believed to be a factor. A message was posted on the Holland Patton School District website. It described Marsden as a beloved bus driver, colleague, and friend. This picture comes from Waterville. George Cushman showing 2 tractor trailers on Route 12 in Waterville. One big rig across the road. No word if it was a collision between the 2. This is in front of the Curtis Lumber. Whiteout conditions there as well. Route 12 from Waterville to New Hartford was closed for the better part of the afternoon, but has since reopened. Again, no word if anyone was injured. This is in West Winfield. This car ending up on its side after appearing to go over the guardrail. This is Route 20 near Chepachet Road, a little after 2:30. No word on any injuries from this crash either. And one big reason for all the mayhem on the roads today is Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis joins me. This right here.
Yeah, we had very strong winds. 50 miles an hour measured. Griffiths, Herkimer, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, it starts to get damaging right around like 45-ish, right?
It depends on the conditions. Yeah, 45 and up. We're usually looking at 55 before power outages start to become a thing. But when you combine that with the snow, boy, those whiteouts were intense. And this is a good lesson that you don't need to have a winter storm in progress to have conditions like we saw today. Just the fact that we have winds here is causing that as well. Graphics are not working here, but what I'm going to tell you is that it's going to be cold this weekend. We are expecting temperatures to be in the teens as we head into tomorrow morning. So the heart run's going to start out pretty cold. With the wind, it's going to feel like single digits, so dress nice and warm for that. We are tracking a warmer week ahead as we look ahead. Look at the forecast coming up. Ben, back over to you.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. A man released from the Oneida County Jail yesterday is accused.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're taking a live look in downtown Utica. Temperature of 27 degrees. It's a lot quieter now than it was earlier today when we were dealing with the snow and the wind. The wind has diminished and just a couple of light snow showers are out there. It does look windy tomorrow and Sunday, just the winds aren't quite as strong as today. We think gusts will go up to about 35 to 40 miles an hour as opposed to 45 to 50 miles an hour. The winds will be a lot lighter here as we head towards Monday and Tuesday. Looking dry on Saturday, cold, a high of 28 degrees. Some light snow showers return Sunday, 38. If you're heading out to the Heart Run tomorrow, dress nice and warm. Wind chills will be in the single digits to teens. We are looking at pretty quiet weather. Springing forward over the weekend, we skip ahead 1 hour Saturday night. We go from standard time to daylight saving time. If we didn't make this time change, this is what the summer sunsets would look like. We would have a sunset of 7:45 and a sunrise of 4:20. But of course, we're not doing that. We're going over to daylight time here. Things look quiet. We're tracking cold weather tonight. A couple of very light snow showers late. Temperatures drop into the low 20s. Tomorrow, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies, cold, windy, temperatures in the 20s. Some light snow returns here late Sunday. Snow showers tonight, low of 21. Tomorrow, cold afternoon, 28 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. A significant warm-up is expected next week. We're close to 60 Tuesday and into the 50s again Thursday and Friday. Ben.